Chapter 23. Lexington, Kentucky, Knoxville, Tennessee, Columbia, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia. These are the cities that lend some flavor to the McGorkles' otherwise rather uneventful trip from Ohio to Florida. Bob had been relieved to finally see Warble and his wife leave, so he could get back to his normal routine. At the same time, though, he was sad to see them go. As irritating as Warble could be at times, it could certainly be said that it was only seldom that a dull moment passed when old Radicalia was around. "Shouldn't you put the Louisiana plate back on the car, Colonel?" Mary asks as they cross the Florida state line. Warble doesn't tell Mary that he discarded the borrowed license plate long ago. Not only might she use that against him as evidence that he wasn't really borrowing it, but it was also an ill-advised move in case they should ever need it again. Say if they head down into Mississippi or Alabama or some such place. "No, that won't be necessary, Mary," Warble improvises. "Floridians aren't really Southerners. They're just a bunch of old geezers from Michigan and New York. The Geritol set, the polyester set. And so you don't have to call me Colonel here." "So they don't talk funny in Florida?" "Sure they talk funny, it's expected. But all the accents are fake. The tourism industry would collapse if people came here and all the locals sounded like Al Michaels or Dan Rather. Tourists want to experience a piece of the South when they come down here. Hear that southern drawl, drive by a chain gang working along the highway, and all that stuff." "You don't say," Mary says. Warble slaps the steering wheel. "Mary, I detect a note of disbelief in your tone. I'll prove it to you. We'll go into a restaurant, and when you hear one of those fakers forget their southern accent, call them on it, and then they'll respond with the thickest, hokiest-sounding pseudo-southern accent you ever done heard in all your born days." "Who's faking it now, Mr. Phony Baloney?" "What are you talking about? I wasn't using a southern accent, just southern diction." "Whatever, Warble." "Well, there's a big difference, Mary. Accent is accent, and diction is diction, and never the twain shall meet. We've got to fit in, you know. As the old saying goes, when in Rome, Georgia, do as them funky old Romans do." "But we're not going to Georgia." "Georgia, Florida, what's the difference? They're like North and South Dakota or North and South Carolina. What do the Dakotas and Carolinas have to do with it?" "The Dakotas are both really the same state. After all, there's no vehicle called a North Dakota or a South Dakota. It's just a Dakota. And there's no football team called the North Carolina Panthers or the South Carolina Panthers, because it's really the same state, with an arbitrary division in the center. And that's why peach is the most popular flavor of Gatorade, because Georgia and Florida are like two peas in a pod." "Peach Gatorade?" "You betcha. By golly, wow, all this talk about peaches is really making me hungry. I feel like having a cheeseburger, maybe with a peach-flavored pickle on the side. Mary, keep a lookout for a Citizen Page or a Turney's or even a McDaffie's." Before they spy one of their more oft-visited fast food joints, Warble spots a McLean's restaurant just in time to wheel into the parking lot before passing it by. Mary screams, and the driver behind them has to slam on his brakes to avoid hitting the McGorkles. "Warble, you were on two wheels," Mary scolds. "Was not." "Was too." "That's bad grammar." "You said was." "Did not." "Did too." "How do you know?" "You couldn't hear me. The tires were screeching," Warble reasons. "Screeching?" "Yes, they were screeching and squealing at the same time." "Is that word in the dictionary?" "Of course." "Yeah, and Warble's unabridged, maybe." "Mary, Mary, quite contrary. No wonder all you had to play with when you were a little girl was a little lamb with fleece white as snow. And after all I did for you, risking life and limb to come here because you were starving to death." "Whatever." "Whatever? Is that all you can say, whatever? You think you're so hot just because the wind cries your name at times." "Whatever, Warble." After expelling an air brake quality sigh, Warble says, "Whatever you say now, Mary, I say let's eat." Sometimes at whispers. My name, Mary whispers. But Warble doesn't hear her. He's already at the plastic wannabe wood sign that says, "Please wait to be seated." "I was born seated," Warble says. "I don't need to wait for that." A waitress steps up to the McGorkles, smiling so broadly and brightly that Warble thinks she might be about to bust. "Please follow me," she says, and turns on her heels. In less than an hour, the McGorkles are finishing their meal. To Warble's astonishment, the establishment had no peach Gatorade on hand. He solaced himself. His mouth was set for peach Gatorade, and it irritated him to no end that they didn't have any, by having 3.14 pieces of peach pie a la mode. He ordered 3 pieces for himself and ate 1/7 of Mary's piece, too. Leaving the bright orange and chocolate brown bedecked eatery, Warble turns to Mary and says in an offended voice, "Imagine the nerve of that woman, Mary." "To what are you referring, my dear husband?" Mary responds, only half listening, as she is satisfied with food and about ready for a nap. "That smile-o-matic waitress. Did you hear what she said to us as we were leaving?" "I can't say I really paid that much attention." As a parting shot, after I had left her a quite generous tip, and it was too late to reassess her waitressing effort and ability, she ordered us to have a nice day. How rude, how bossy, how presumptuous. What if I prefer to have a crummy day? In fact, I think I will. I insist on my inalienable right to have a crummy day, and I will. Suit yourself, Warble, just don't bring me down with you. Are you telling me you're going to go along with that phony-faced waitress? Just because she tells you to have a nice day, you're going to do it, no questions asked? I'm going to try my best. Warble is so flabbergasted by Mary's blind obedience to the pushy stranger that he forces himself to take 3 breaths before responding. I hate to say this, Mary, but I think you would have made a good Nazi. What a thing to say, Warble, Mary says, her eyes searing into Warble's. Well, you leave me no recourse, Mary. You simply follow any order or directive given, no matter what the source or how outrageous it is. I don't see how having a nice day is so Wait a minute. Didn't you add that phrase to your letters to the International Nut Company? What phrase might that be, perchance? Have a nice day. I will not. You can't make me. You did. I did already? Yes, you told those nut guys to have a nice day in that letter you wrote them. How rude, Warble, Mary teases. Oh, yes, that. Well, you see, I did that to show them who was boss. It was my intimidation tactic. Apparently, the fear it was meant to inspire in their bosoms will take a while to hit them. A delayed reaction, no doubt. Right, Mary responds dubiously. Why is everybody trying to boss me around today? Warble complains bitterly. Just for that, Mary, I'm turning left. I was going to turn right, but not now. Mary is already snoring. Women, Warble loudly laments. Can't live with them. Can't die with them either. They always live longer. Probably all that quiche and tofu they eat.